to take this mudra, you start by folding your index finger into the base of your thumb, so right where your thumb meets your palm. And then the tip of the thumb comes alongside the middle finger to the first joint, the side of the middle finger. And then these other two fingers can just sort of relax or point out. And then we'll set that on the back of our thigh. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to say something. But that's the mudra. I'll stop the share again. Getting so caught up in this using my Zoom tools. So holding the mudra or not, setting it down on the back of the knees. We'll start by just settling in, feeling your sit bones, connecting to the mat, to the ground, to whatever you're seated on. Taking a moment to feel that connection to the earth. And then connecting to your breathing. Feeling the breath coming in through the nose. Chest expands. Entire rib cage. And then relaxing and grounding as the shoulders relax down the back on the exhale. So continuing to take natural breaths as you hold the mudra. Tuning in to any sensations, any feelings that are connected to the gesture. Taking some time to notice how your breath is gently directed into your upper chest, your neck, your head, and instilling a sense of clearing throughout all of your nasal passages, your breathing passages. Taking a breath or two to notice as the air passages open, your breath flows freely through the nostrils, perhaps cultivating greater sense of comfort and ease with your breathing. As you breathe more easily, maybe you can sense the breath, imagine the breath expanding beyond your physical body, becoming more sensitive to your energetic body and to your connection to your surroundings. Noticing how your body and perhaps also your energetic body naturally expands with each inhalation, softens with each exhalation. And as you breathe, continuing to explore these boundaries. Perhaps imagining a subtle field that surrounds your body. I like to imagine a bubble surrounding me that expands and contracts with my inhales and exhales. Your experience of these boundaries, of this bubble, can be a reflection of how you relate to the world, how you relate to the things and the people around you. If your sense of boundaries is rigid, you can tend to overreact to challenges in order to protect yourself and end up ultimately separating from life's vital nourishment, moving into shutdown. If, on the other hand, your boundaries are porous, you might begin to lose the ability to distinguish me from not me, allowing invaders to challenge your integrity, your sense of self. And so we're aiming for boundaries that are balanced, boundaries that allow in all that is healthy and nourishing, but that also shield us from all that does not serve, that protects us. So taking several breaths, sensing what is your sense of whether your energetic boundaries are too open and porous, are rigid, or just right and balanced. And healthy. So with these healthy boundaries, you perceive clearly threats that compromise your integrity of the body, the mind, of the spirit, without overreacting to these threats, thereby allowing our immune system to function optimally. And with this optimal immunity, you find a natural balance of giving and receiving, taking in nourishment while filtering out anything that could challenge your body's, your mind's, your spirit's integrity. With clear and healthy boundaries, my immune system functions optimally. Clear and healthy boundaries, I am balanced, safe, and secure. So, taking one more breath while holding the mudra, and then slowly releasing. Hands can remain face up. So you take one more breath. We slowly open the eyes and returning. And we'll introduce some movement. So let's just start with this grounding, this sense of grounding, and feeling your sit bones on the earth. In fact, if you'd like to recross your legs, might be nice now after sitting there for a while. I'm just going to start with some small circles. Feeling grounded in the sit bones. And I say small, but if you feel like making your circles bigger, please feel free. Really noticing what you feel in the body as we slowly revolve around our root. Maybe inhaling as we come forward, exhaling back. One more circle in this direction, and the next time we come forward, Just slowly reverse the circles. Noticing any sensations. Any places that maybe you feel a little stuck as you come around. Those are good places to slow down just a little bit more. Exploring. And the next time we come back, coming back into center, into stillness, into balance. Taking a nice big inhale, moving the arms up. And exhale. Those arms come back down. We're going to do some seated cat-cows and add a little bit of a shoulder opener to that as well. So with seated cat-cows, hands come to knees. Take a nice big inhale. And we'll exhale into cat as the sit bones come slightly forward. The back moves towards the wall behind you. Chin down. And inhaling. The sit bones move back. Belly slightly forward. The chin comes up. You can even look up a little if that feels good for you. So again, into cat as the back rounds, chin comes down. This is a very, very small movement coming into cow. Just trying to feel all along your spine as we slowly warm it up. So the next time that the belly comes forward, let's go ahead and also open the arms out wide. And then as we exhale into our cat, arms cross as we reach for our shoulder blades. So giving yourself a nice big hug. Inhaling, arms come open. And on the next exhale, crossing your arms the other way. Again, sort of reaching for those shoulder blades, getting a nice big stretch across the back of the heart. We're going to do this one more time. Inhaling, arms open. Exhaling, crossing again the first way. And we'll inhale into a neutral seat. Take a breath. Just notice any sensations, any continued reverberations from that movement that we just did. And let's warm up our neck a little bit now. We're doing our neck stretches with a little side stretch. So on the next exhale, left ear drops to left shoulder. And then let's reach our opposite arm. Our right arm comes out. It can come out on the towards the wall on the other side. Your fingers can walk along the mat. Just trying to find a place where you feel a nice stretch on the right side of the neck, maybe the top of the right shoulder. You can move your fingers up or back till you find that, oh yeah, there's a spot. And if you'd like a little bit more, the left hand can come to the right ear. Just gently adding a little bit of weight there, but not pressing down in any way. You can get a tiny bit more traction. Taking a big inhale here into the right lung. And exhaling out, slowly release. You can take your right hand to your right cheek and move your head up. The hand comes back. And then we'll drop right ear to right shoulder, opposite side, and walk those left fingers out. And move them around a little till you find that nice spot where you didn't even know you needed a stretch there. Taking nice big breaths now into the left lung, the left side of the body. And again, that right hand can come to the left ear. Just a little bit more juice to this pose. We're never over working our neck. Just allowing the weight of the arm provide a bit of traction. One more breath here. And you can use that right hand to move our head gently back to center. Hands come down. I want to do a little bit of shoulder opening. I have somewhere around here a strap. You don't need a strap. You can use a belt. You can use whatever you have kind of around a towel, or even just nothing at all. The strap is completely optional. Allows you just to open those shoulders a little bit. And once you have whatever it is, I'm going to hold it in my right hand and reach that hand up. And then on an exhale, the hand comes towards the middle of my shoulder blade, so that strap is hanging down behind me. So my elbow is pointed up. And then the other arm, my left arm, wraps around and finds that strap, starts to walk up towards the opposite hand. And if you can grab opposite fingers, that's great. So we're in our cow-faced arms here, and this is a big heart opener. So first, just noticing the openness of the heart. And then take a moment to come back to your comfortable seat. So we're feeling the grounding in the sit bones and making sure we're not really over curving our back. So this tends to want us to make us go into a back bend. Really, you want to have that, keep that natural curve to your spine. I'm going to take one more breath here. We won't stay in here too long. Feeling the entire rib cage expand, and you can exhale out through the mouth as we let go of the strap. Arms push out to the walls on either side. And then we'll move to the other side. So this time I'm holding the strap in my left hand, reaching that hand up to the ceiling so that the strap drops behind me. And then the hand comes down behind, in between my shoulder blades is what I'm aiming for, so that the elbow kind of points up. It may not point straight up. The right hand reaches around behind, grab onto that strap, and if you can walk your fingers up a little, that's great, but just wherever you are. It's going to give you some opening to the shoulders, opening to the heart, and let go of any tendency to want to really arch your back or even grip. We want to relax into our natural seat, which includes just the natural curve to your spine. Focusing this really on the shoulders, getting that nice stretch and opening. You'll feel this also in your tricep of your upper arm. One more breath here, really feeling the rib cage expand. And open mouth exhale as we release the strap. We'll come into our first pose, the first pose that everybody loves to hear, child's pose. So we've done our warm-ups. Yes, if you want to stretch your arms out a little bit, that might feel good here. But we come into our wide-kneed child's pose. So toes come to touch, knees come out, maybe as wide as the mat. Our seat to our heels, and then hands walk us forward until our forehead rests on the mat. Or if you like, you can have a block there. Whatever allows you to breathe comfortably and to completely relax in the low back in particular. And you may feel this in the low back and all the way into the glutes, completely relaxing. Any holding, any gripping. So we'll do our scan of the body, starting with the toes and the feet relaxed, the legs, letting go of any gripping in the glutes, and the belly relaxed. Gravity gently pulls it towards the earth. Relaxed in the front body, the armpits. You'll start to feel your shoulder blades maybe come together a little bit. Letting go of any tightness, any gripping, any holding in the upper arms, the lower arms, the hands and wrists were completely relaxed. And for any of our poses today, if you want a little change of pace, you can think about palms face up. It is Valentine's Day. We want to receive with our hearts as well as give. See how that feels to you. You may say, no, this is better face down. We're going to take a few more breaths here before we come into a twisted version of our child's pose. Every exhale, feel the letting go, the release. Maybe you want to come back to that, imagining that protective bubble of your extended immune system. Feeling protected, but also connected. Not so protected that we're cut off, but that perfect balance. One more breath here. So we're going to stay in child's pose. We're coming into a twisted child's pose. And I'll start this, so I'm figure out what side so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to stretch out my left arm to a T. And then on my next inhale, my right arm comes up and around towards the side where my left arm is extended. You can, I'm going to show it to you this way too so you can see what I'm doing. Just a little bit of a bind here. I'm actually grabbing onto my thigh, but the hand can just hang here. We're getting a little bit of a heart opener here, and then coming back to this side, so I cue my left cheek comes to the mat, so I'm looking off away from that extended arm. So it's a little bit of a twist. A little more of a heart opener. And as you inhale, again, really feeling the right lung expand, and exhale, relaxing. Coming back to that scan of your body. Letting go of any place where you may have resumed gripping or holding. Checking in also with the face. Nice, soft, relaxed, smooth face. Checking in with the jaw. Slack, not at all clenching. Feeling the shoulders. Still relaxing down, away from the ears. So we have one more breath here. And on the next exhale, I'm going to move my right arm back out in front of me, stretch it out. And my left arm as well, lift up my head, coming just a couple breaths back into my child's pose. Really feeling the rib cage expand all the way down to the diaphragm on your inhale. And relaxing on the exhale, and then we'll come to the other side. I think my microphone might be getting some unnecessary static here. So now I'm extending my right arm out. So right arm comes out to a T. Left arm comes up and around. And you don't want to really be gripping with that hand. So just kind of find a spot where then you can relax, but you're still getting that opening that you may feel in the right shoulder, maybe even down in, the left shoulder into the left bicep a little bit. And then my right cheek comes to the mat. And I completely relax again. So I'm also getting a nice opening on that extended arm, on my right arm and that upper shoulder. So coming back to scan of the body, letting go of any gripping or holding in the glutes, the thighs, relaxing the belly. Moving back to that sense of ease, of breath. That we experienced in the opening meditation. Feeling the breath enter through the nostrils on the inhale. The entire rib cage expands, especially in the left lung this time. And completely relaxing on the exhale. Jaw and face also relaxed. One more breath here. And exhale, release that arm. You might want to stretch it out for just a moment. Stretching my arm forward. And then the right arm as well. Feeling a nice stretch also in the armpits. We're actually going to come forward from here into our Sphinx pose. So slowly, taking your time, mindfully, we'll move through hands and knees, extending my legs back to a nice long spine, and coming into my Sphinx pose. My feet, my legs they're about hip distance apart. Toenails flat on the mat, or if it feels better for you to have your toes pointed, you can do that as well. Elbows moving under the armpits if that's comfortable. If that's too much on your low back, you can always move your elbows just a little bit forward. You might want to wiggle some length to that low back. You can do that by momentarily gripping with your fingers and pulling out of your navel, pulling forward, getting a little bit of length, and then let go of all of that gripping and just relax. Chin is parallel to the ground. If you find that that's a problem at any point, you can also take the gaze down. So once we're here in our Sphinx, let's scan for any gripping or holding. Relaxing the feet, the ankles, the calves. Let go of any gripping in the kneecap, which I often do. Any holding in the thighs, or my favorite place to grip here is the glutes. Those are places where we grip and hold in order to protect ourselves. And if you do feel like, again, there's too much in the low back, we are going for a little bit of compression, but you can always move your elbows forward. And in fact, you can also, if it feels better for your shoulders, move one hand, hands to opposite elbows is another option. Finally, an option here again, palms face up, which we don't often do. Slightly different sensation. Given what we've been, the shoulder work we've done so far, you may feel that more in the shoulders. So coming back to the feeling of breath moving in through the nostrils all the way below the navel, below the diaphragm on the inhale. And relaxing as we release all the breath on the exhale. Navel coming to spine. Maybe once again invoking that protective bubble, our extended energetic immune system. Feeling it expand as well on the inhale. And contracting, protecting on the exhale. Coming back to that sense of healthy boundaries that are neither too porous nor too rigid. And take one more breath here in Sphinx before we give our low back a little bit of a release and a break. And so now coming forward slightly, making a pillow with my hands. My left cheek comes to the tops of my hands. I'm looking off to the right. And then my right knee slowly moves up that right elbow until I find that perfect spot where my low back releases. Completely relaxing here for a couple of breaths. Relax the shoulders. Really feeling the breath. Ease. Relaxing just a little more on each exhale. And we're going to come back into our Sphinx pose. Slide that knee back once it came and coming back up again on our elbows. Resuming our Sphinx again to really build that strength in our back by having a couple of holds. Nice big inhale, maybe an open mouth sigh. Feeling that groundedness into the mat. Completely relaxing in the belly, in the glutes, the kneecaps. We're not gripping there. And we always have the option, if you want a little bit more the second time around, we can come into our seal pose. I have my hands on opposite corners of the mat at an angle, straightening my arms. And you can always make the seal come just as high up as you like, or stay in your Sphinx. Either way, all kinds of benefits. Building strength in our low backs. Making sure that I feel my shoulders creeping up. Your shoulders are relaxing down the back. And always close the eyes. Gaze forward. If it's okay for your neck, or if you'd like to look down, please do so. Really enjoying the ease of breath. Moving in through the nostrils all the way down to the low abdomen. We expand, relaxing on the exhale. And yin yoga, we do hold the poses just a little bit longer. But if at any point you feel the need to come out, take a break, come back in, please do listen to your body. We're looking for sensation, we're looking for an edge, but never pain. We have a couple more breaths here. And that last exhale, sighing it out through the mouth. We're going to go ahead and do that release on the other side now. So making a pillow with our palms. Now my right cheek comes down, looking off to the left. So that left knee moves up towards the left elbow until you find that perfect place where the low back just releases, relaxes. You can move the lower leg in or out a little to see if that helps facilitate the relaxation. And again, coming back to the sensation of the inhale, expanding the entire torso. And the exhale, an opportunity to let go, relax. And from here we'll come back into child's pose for a few breaths before we come into next pose. So pushing up with the forearms. Again, the big toes come to touch. Knees apart. The seat comes to the heels, the forehead down. Arms can come extended, palms face up. Or if you'd like this time, arms can also come beside the legs. And again, with the palms face up. And here, really letting go so that you feel completely relaxed in the low back, in the glutes, shoulders relaxed. And staying here for a couple of breaths, a couple more breaths. Our next pose will be melting heart. We have to have all the poses that have heart in the name on Valentine's Day. So our melting heart pose. So as we're ready, using our hands to push ourselves up, sitting back on our heels for just a moment, making any movements that might feel nice to you before we come into that next pose. So we will be on our knees, so if you need to pad under your knees, please do so. So we'll start this pose again from our tabletop position, and hips stay over the knees as the arms walk forward, the hands walk forward, first to down on our elbows, taking a breath here, and then continuing to come forward until the forehead connects to the mat. Again, with the hips staying over the knees. And if you feel that isn't quite working for you, you can always use a block under the forehead as well to make contact. So finding that place where you can hang out for a little while in melting heart pose or puppy pose. And then also finding those places where you're holding yourself up so that gravity can't. Gently melt that heart, melt those armpits, your entire torso towards the mat. So let go of any gripping or holding in the hands, in the arms. Check in with the jaw. I like to wiggle it side to side. Nice and relaxed. Lips are barely touching. And then any gripping in that whole heart space, in the diaphragm. Really can feel gravity pulling your heart space, your torso towards the mat, giving us a nice back bend in the kind of the upper and middle back as a result. So those shoulder blades coming together naturally on the back as the heart melts. Let's make sure we're not gripping in the belly, in the abdomen. And the glutes or the thighs. Here I especially tend to want to, I'll find some gripping in my quads most of the time. And once we've completely relaxed, coming back to the breath. Feeling so much expansion of the rib cage. On the inhale, and slightly rising off the earth. And then exhale. Gravity moves us back towards the earth as we relax into the exhale. We have another breath or so here. On the next exhale, slowly, slowly use those hands to walk us back. We're going to come to a seated position from here. So I'm taking my time, really mindful about every movement. Taking a breath as we come back to seated on the heels. And then our next pose will be do a dragonfly or a straddle with a side bend. So I'll come back to my seated position. Nice tall spine, and then legs come wide, whatever wide looks like for you. So I'm not really doing a dragonfly where my legs come straight out. Just finding a place where you do feel some sensation in the inner legs, but never overstretching. Nice tall spine if you need to sit up on something, which I think I do. Please do so. A little bit more comfortable seat there. And then we're going to come to a side bend, and I will use a block on the outside of my leg. It is possible to also do this on the inside. It just sort of depends on how wide you have your legs spread and what works for you. So on an inhale, let's sit up nice and tall. And I'm going to exhale. I'm going to start by bending to the left. I'll reach my right hand up, 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 and then over my ear. I know some people like to reach over and grab the toe. I feel like that's, unless your legs are really out straight, that's probably going to give more of a twist than we're going for. So I just have my arm just kind of, you can even drape it over your head. So feeling a nice long stretch up the left side of the body. And then I'm just going to put my elbow on my block and rest my head, the side of my head in my hand. That works for you. If you feel like, oh, I can't do that at all, we have many settings to our block, so we can come here or kind of whichever setting is most comfortable for you. So what we're going for here is sensation in the right side of the body, all the way up through the armpit. And of course, you're getting a good stretch in the inner leg lines as well. So adjust as need be, find that place where you can hang out. We're about halfway through. And come back to, once you've scanned your body, let go of any holding, let go of any gripping, especially in the front of the legs here. Really feeling the expansion of the ribs and imagining breathing into that right lung. Expanding the right lung on every inhale. Relaxing a little bit more into the stretch on the exhale. If you find yourself starting to grip in the front of the legs, letting go there. You may be feeling this in the right hip a little bit or a lot. And at any point you feel like it's just too much, you can always come out. and come back in as you're ready. And trying to find that place right in the middle of challenge and ease. And we do want ease, but we do also want to feel a little sensation. See if you can notice any relaxing and opening as you remain in the posture. I tend to feel that. Start to feel it tight in the hip to begin with. A little bit more relaxed. One more breath here. And exhale, the right arm slowly sweeps down as the head comes up. If this is too much to have your legs out, you can always move them together for a moment. Windshield wipe. Kind of take them out of the pose before we go to the other side, just depending on how much stretch you're feeling. And then as you're ready, legs come wide again. Move my block to the other side. On an inhale, my left arm stretches up, up, up. And then I'll lean to the right. And the arm comes. It can kind of rest on the head if that works for you, or you can keep it extended. Going again for this nice stretch along the left side. And find that place where you can lean over just a little bit on your right elbow. Using your block as appropriate. Kind of finding that perfect edge for you. I'm keeping my gaze forward. It is possible to look up towards the ceiling in this. I'm choosing to look forward. Looking up will just probably enhance the twist a tiny bit or enhance the stretch along the side. And now relax any gripping in the knees and the tops of the thighs. Any holding in the belly and the abdomen. All these things that we do to protect. If you feel that once you've done that, maybe you need to move the legs not so wide, feel free to do that. Come back to feeling the breath entering through the nostrils. Throat expands, collarbones expand, entire torso on the inhale, really that left lung in particular. And exhale and again relax. Any gripping, maybe moving just a little, just a tiny bit more into the side stretch. Again, not just the side, but you're likely feeling this in particular in the adductors, the inner leg lines, possibly in the hips. Check in on your shoulders, make sure that relaxing down the back. Could take some pressure off the heart space. We have one more breath here. And exhaling out through the mouth. As the arm sweeps back down, we come back up. Here I like to lean back on my hands. I have my fingers pointed forward before I release my hips. That gives me a little bit more release, stretching out the legs straight for just a moment. Toes can move back and forth, windshield wipering. If you feel like pushing yourself up on your hands and taking a little back bend, feels nice, feel free to do that. Whatever feels nourishing to you before we come into our deer pose. So continuing, we're working on the hips a little bit here as well as the heart. In our deer pose, I'm going to start with my legs off to the left. So feet and legs come around to the left. I have my left shin parallel to the short edge of the mat. I have my right shin parallel to the long edge. I'm just kind of finding that place where you can sit on either hip bone. You feel probably a little bit of stretch in the hips, but paying attention to what works for your hips. So if the foot needs to come in further, that's fine. The knees need to come closer together also. And then this is where we'll use our bolster. So we're going to twist away from the legs to the right. That bolster comes right up against the right hip. Taking a nice big inhale. And then we're going to exhale and move our torso over the bolster. And you may find you need to move your legs a little bit in order to do that. I often do. And you also find that that back hip comes off a little bit. That is natural. So we'll come forward over the bolster. And at this point, you have a choice. You can look towards the legs. The right cheek can come down. If you want a little bit more twist and it works for you, you come down. Maybe which one works for you today? What feels nourishing? Add to the twist. After you come down, you find your perfect spot. Start by letting go of any finger holding across the sacrum area in the thighs of the glute. You're completely relaxed here. Shoulders snapping down the back, away from the ears. Again with the skin on the face, smooth, relaxed. Jaw flat. Hands aren't gripping, stretching on either side of the bolster. Legs, kneecaps, ankles and feet. Completely relaxed. Come back to in through the nose, expanding the rib cage, expanding the heart and lungs. And as you exhale, melting in through the top, shoulders relax down the back just a little bit more. progress here. Letting go. Either side of the bolster. Very mindfully coming back. Just seated. Taking a breath here. Before we move on to the other side, and again, you might want to lean back on your hands to release the hips before moving the legs forward. I like to take my bolster and move it to the other side. Before I reposition my legs, my dog might be about to bark, by the way, in case you might hear that. And so again, coming into deer on the opposite side, legs swing the other way. And this is again a place where you might say, oh, it's really different on this side because this is a hip opener. And hips tend to be not at all symmetrical and very different. So again, what we're sort of aiming for, parallel shin to the long edge of the mat with the front leg, the short of the edge of the mat with the other, but it just depends on your anatomy, what your body does. So once you have your legs over to the right, sitting up nice and tall on both sit bones for just a moment. Making good contact with the mat before we start to twist off to the left. So twisting to the left, you probably have to shift a little bit onto that left hip. Rolled over your bolster. Relax and again, don't keep moving to the bolster to the left hip. And off in the direction of the leg for a little bit more twist. Right. Now that spot, you feel some sensation in the hip, especially the right hip here. Completely letting go. All those places of what they have told them. Relax. Open the way back. Building, ripping down the abdomen. Slowly. So the ears are just completely relaxing down and melting the shoulders. Body can just completely relax also. Just help stop your bolster onto your throat. Down, so slowly. Your eyes, forward, circle. Fingers not gripping. Feeling the body moving. Going around with the space and staying. Maybe just a little bit more. Mhm. One at a time on either side of the bolster. Slowly walking ourselves up, leaning back on the hands to release the hips. Going to come into a fish pose, and from there, we'll either stay there or we can come into our Shavasana, our last big heart opener here. So, fish pose, I'm recommending the bolster for our shoulders, and then the block where your head will rest, just behind the bolster. And if your house is as cold as mine, you might want a blanket too. Um, Feet can come together in Baddha Konasana, or if you feel like your inner legs have had enough, legs can also extend. So that's entirely up to you. Then with the shoulders, the shoulder blades draped over the bolster, and the back of my head resting on the block so that I have a nice open throat, open heart, arms out wide. Completely relaxing, letting go. Feeling supported by the prop, by the floor, and by everyone who supports us, our families and communities. Just relaxing into that support. Feeling those healthy boundaries that allow ourselves to be supported, allow ourselves to connect, and at the same time, allow ourselves to protect from all that does not serve. So here, really feeling your jaw so relaxed into your throat. Expanding on every inhale. Collarbones, the chest, the navel, all the way down below the diaphragm. Making so much space on the inhale, relaxing into that space on the exhale. Feeling the shoulders melt into the prop. Any gripping that you feel in the front body. Letting go. Relaxing. And if at this point you'd like to stretch your legs out, you can stay here for our Shavasana. If you feel like the props are too much, feel free to remove them. Whatever it takes, though, can really come to that neutral place for all your muscles. Completely let go of the job of contracting, gripping, supporting you. And now, slowly coming back into our bodies, back into the room. Start by deepening our breath, connecting to our inhales and our exhales. Introducing small movements, fingers, toes, ankles, wrists. Taking a nice big stretch of the arms overhead. I didn't leave enough room to do that, but stretching overhead with the fingers, toes point away. And relaxing. Feet can come to the mat. We slowly, carefully roll over to one side. Stay on your prop or gently move it. Come to a fetal position. Taking a couple breaths here. And thanking yourself for showing up for your practice today. For practicing self-care and self-love on Valentine's Day. Gratitude to all that supports you, including yourself. With our hands, we'll slowly, mindfully come up to our comfortable seats. It's getting cold in my house. I don't know about you guys. Find your sit bones connected to the earth once again. Hands come together in front of the chest. Head bowed. With healthy boundaries, I connect and I protect with an open heart. Thank you for practicing with me today, despite the different circumstances. I'm so glad to invite you into my home today and to be with you on this Valentine's Day. The light in me sees and acknowledges the light in you. Namaste.